that all you want, but when you stop at the intersection of classic hip-hop and culinary arts, you find Food Dope, the legendary podcast that personifies the culture through conversations with hip-hop influence, executive chefs, restaurateurs, and food influencers.
Step, throwing up flat like a ref, whipping up bricks like a chef.
Welcome to another episode of the Food Dope Podcast. This is your host, Nathan T. Rito, a.k.a. The Professor, your curator of culinary dopeness. And today, I'm back at my home studio thanks to the engineer extraordinaire, Fran Lover, who's looking after me today. And today, I have a very special episode. And I know I call all of them special because I treat them that way. Everybody who steps into the Food Dope with me, I treat them as special people. And today, I have a chef, Ashia Hawkins, from Canvas and Whiskey. What's up, Ashia? How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing excellent. Today. And today is the finale of season 1, and I appreciate you coming out and spending this day with me.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we're going to have a dope conversation today about food, about hip hop, about where you're from, and make it do what it do.
Okay, cool beans.
All right. So where you from, Ashia?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Ocean Hill, Brownsville.
Ah, okay.
You know it?
I know it. I know a lot of it, but I tell you what's so dope about it, because my show is Food Dope. It's food, culinary arts, and it's hip hop. And what's dope, I tell everybody on the show pretty much every week, dope about hip hop is places I've never been before. Mm-hmm. I learned about it through music.
Okay.
And I think that was so dope about our culture. And the way I learned about Brooklyn was MOP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how I learned about Brooklyn. Houdini, Special Ed, and MOP. So let's talk about Brooklyn.
What you want to know?
All right.
You want my footprints? Like, you tell me.
We're going to go into your footprints. But Brooklyn has a place, people of Brooklyn I know have a sense. I know a lot of people from New York, but it seems like Brooklyn has that sense of pride like I haven't heard from anybody else.
Right.
What sets Brooklyn apart and what's distinctly Brooklyn?
Brooklyn is the embodiment of New York.
Okay.
It's like, you go to Brooklyn, you get your slice of pizza. You go to Brooklyn, you got dancers. You go to Brooklyn, you got hip hop. You just come to Brooklyn and you feel, you feel like Superman. Yeah. It's like once you set foot in Brooklyn, it's kind of like, okay, I'm here. Mm-hmm. You know, you're looking at people on the stoop, you're looking at people working, you're looking at everything. You got the food carts, your street meat. Have you ever had street meat?
Nah.
You've never had a shish kebab? That's
okay.
Brooklyn.
Okay, a Brooklyn thing.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, you go and you get a Frank. We call them Franks, hot dogs. You know, you get it out the cart. You have your cup of coffee in the blue cup.
Yeah.
It's Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That's what's up. I also learned a good bit from a book I wrote. I wrote Daddy-O from Stetson Sonic. I wrote his book, so he put me on to a lot of what's going on with Brooklyn. I think that was pretty dope. So I'm glad you're here to teach me more about Brooklyn.
Brooklyn is art.
Graffiti.
Graffiti is art. I mean, Brooklyn is just, it's, you know, we all talk about the 5 boroughs. Yeah. But one borough everybody knows is Brooklyn. You don't know any other borough, you know Brooklyn. That's right. Yeah.
That's right. Oh, boy. What year were you born?
Oh, 76.
76.
Yes.
I only like to ask that because for a frame of reference before we go into conversation. Because like a couple of episodes ago, I'm sitting there next to a chef when I was in Las Vegas, and I'm thinking he's my contemporary, and he said he was born in 92. And he looked old. I'm like, man, you're just 4 years older than my daughter, you know. So, but you know, I give props to all the younger chefs who came in here and kept up conversations with me. I learned from them, and they learned from me, because I think it's pretty dope. That's what this culture's about, you know.
Ooh, 76. Yes. What year were you born?
73.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. We're Generation X.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm glad you were born in 76. I was born in 73. The premise of this show followed up an earlier show a few years ago I had called The Genius Generation, where I talk about people from Generation X doing some great people I know who probably came from nothing, who learned how to produce $4,000 drum machines and learned how to make music and this and that. And they had a hustle that came from our generation. That's what, and through that hustle, I want you to talk about Canvas and Whiskey, the concept of that.
So Canvas and Whiskey, the name was established in 2018.
Okay.
But Canvas and Whiskey has been in the making since I was 3. You know, I've been cooking that long since I was 3.
Okay.
From my grandmother's second floor apartment to my mom's backyard.
Yeah.
You know, pulling out the grill on the street, cooking and selling food, selling cakes when I was 4 and 5 years old, nasty cakes, though.
Yeah.
Like the easy bake oven cakes.
Okay,
with
yeah.
round ladies and lemon heads on top. You know, gross, but people bought on 25 cents. You thought you was rich back then. You know? So Canvas and Whiskey, it's been a long time coming. We work hard, we grind. I was selling food out of my apartment. I turned my apartment into a restaurant. My husband bought me a register and said, do what you do. And people used to yell up to the window.
Yeah.
They used to call. They would see me in the street. I'd stop cars like, hey, you know, we selling food on the corner right here. Want something? Like, that's you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. That's us. Come through.
So you had that reputation around the way for just being that person, huh?
Like, okay, so you from New Orleans?
I'm from New Orleans, yeah.
So po' boy, that's real popular, right? In my hood, the chicken sandwiches.
Okay.
My chicken sandwiches are real popular. People come from all over to get my chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
So it's like the po' boy of New Orleans.
Okay. So you created that frenzy like Popeyes did a couple years ago.
Yes.
It was like that, huh?
Yes.
That's what's up.
The fresh French fries, the cut potatoes, not the frozen.
Yeah. Shout out to the G for buying the register and getting you
Right?
going when y'all was. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about that hustler mentality and you did of getting Canvas and Whiskey and what was it that made you start selling food at age 16? What was it that gave you that interest early on? And when you had that interest, did you know that's something that you would be like to further later in life?
Well, I always like to make money.
Okay.
You know, coming from Brooklyn, coming from New York, you're always on the hustle.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, okay, I know I can cook because I'm helping my grandmother cook. She sold food everywhere, schools, weddings. Like, she's always making something.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm helping her. I can sell my own food now.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, okay, let's start this. So I started out with baking because I love baking.
Okay.
And I branched off a little bit from my grandmother, and she was like, you can't cook like me. I was like, no, but it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah.
So, you know, I started selling my pies and my cakes and stuff like that. And then I just hit the block one day. I was like, get this grill.
Yeah.
Get my charcoal, get some meat, and let's see. And it's like the rush, the feeling. It's like being a food drug dealer.
Yeah.
You know, like the food is the drug. Like, I'm your supplier. You know, so we just did it like that. I had my sister helping me. My friends used to come. You know, it was just the point of the enjoyment. Like, I like for people to eat my food and then say, dang, you have some more?
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like I like them coming back.
You get a rush out of that, yeah.
Yeah.
That food drug, that neighborhood food dealer.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you think, as the neighborhood food dealer, what were you slinging out of that apartment that people kept coming back and asking for more, that you think?
The most?
Yeah, besides the chicken sandwich.
My steaks.
Steaks?
My steaks.
Okay.
They go crazy.
What's special about your steak?
Well, for me, I need a nice marbled steak. And, you know, for everybody that knows food, you know, marbling is the key to tender meat.
Right.
So it's like you get that, and the way I marinate my food is kind of like, you know, I marinate it with love, I marinate it with music, so it's just sitting and bumping in that soul, you know, and then you throw that thing on that grill.
Yeah.
Or you could put it in the oven. You know, sometimes I have to put it in the oven under the broiler.
Right.
Back in the day, we had the ovens with the broilers.
Yeah,
Now it's
yeah.
kind of like different. But you throw it in there, and it just crisp up. It's like a nice caramelization going on top with the onions on the bottom. Everybody was
That's
coming
what's up
through.
right there.
Right? Doesn't it sound
Yeah,
good?
yeah.
You want to scratch and sniff, right?
yeah. All right. First, being from Brooklyn, being from New York, the birthplace of hip hop.
Yep.
Earliest hip hop moments. That probably got you like, oh, this is something I might be involved in. Not involved full time, of course, but just something I could get down with.
Okay, so I was always in love with music. Let me see, my first, you know what? Thinking about the symphony, right? And just skating in the park. And we had a DJ. He came outside every day after work.
Okay.
5:15 on the dot. He had crates, and he brought out like 8 crates of music.
Yeah.
And I would just skate to every hip hop song he played, and it was just like the bass.
Yeah.
Was like boom, and it was just in me. And then you're hearing the words, but as you're skating and you're a kid,
Yeah.
you're not really listening to the words so much. You listening to the part where you could dance to.
Right.
Because our thing was we gonna put a dance together and perform at the block party.
Right.
So yeah, listening, like the symphony came on, and I was like, wait a minute, hold up. And it was just.
That was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is an intoxicating bass line at the symphony. What block are you from in Brooklyn?
Pacific Street.
Pacific
Street.
As if I know. I just had to ask. I just had to ask because I know people like to talk about their block, what block they're from.
You know what? My block was a very interesting block. We had Pacific Street is a stomping ground for a lot of people. Anybody from Brooklyn knows Pacific Street. It's right across the street from Atlantic Towers. It's just interesting. So a lot goes down on Pacific Street.
On Pacific Street. You know what's pretty funny, and I'm just setting the stage just for what I know about Brooklyn. It's a guy that I follow on IG, and he shows all the old classic New York pics from the concerts and the clubs with everybody had the jewelry and everything. And he mentions where they're from. So I had to ask him one day, man, how many projects is in Brooklyn? Every time I think I've heard of them all, he's putting a different so-and-so from this project. I'm like, how many is it?
It's a lot of projects. It's more projects than most people would ever believe.
Really?
I don't come from projects. However, and I wasn't allowed in the projects, because a lot goes down in the projects, but I had family there. We had Atlantic Towers, which was right across the street. And it's not the projects, but some people play around. Like my husband lives in Atlantic Towers, right?
Okay.
He used to live in Atlantic Towers. I'd be like, that's a 24-story project. But it really wasn't.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. It's a lot of projects in there.
Ah, okay. All right.
Yeah. You gotta come. You need to experience Brooklyn with the Brooklyn night. So you can just kind of see. It's different now.
Of course.
But you would still get to experience some of the things that you need to know about Brooklyn. Yeah.
What led you to Atlanta?
That's a question everybody asks me. What led me to Atlanta? I wanted something different. New York is real fast-paced. It's on the move. It's constant. You gotta have that New York state of mind at all times. And I didn't want to look over my shoulder or look over my kid's shoulder and try to figure things out. I wanted them to be at peace when they went outside.
Right.
Because, Brooklyn, gunshots, pop, pop, pop. But I'm used to it, so I'm cool. I could just keep cooking. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But for my children, it's different.
Right.
So I decided, my husband and I, we just packed up. I got a job here. Matter of fact, I applied for a job, which wasn't related to cooking, which is crazy. But I applied for a job on I think Wednesday. We drove down Thursday, got the job. Friday, I told him, babe, I got the job. I think it was Tuesday we left. That
dope.
quick.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope.
I left my food trail behind, but I still I kept going back, and then I created it down here. So
Okay.
I introduced Brooklyn to Atlanta.
To Atlanta, yeah. Did you find what was the difficulty in getting everything you had established there, getting to a new location and trying to get established clientele or whatever? You want to talk about the difficulty you faced in that regard?
I didn't. I'm so confident with my food. I went to school one day, cafeteria shut down. So they were like, what are we going to do? I got this. It's like, you're from New York, you can't cook. I got this. So they had some, that school chicken or whatever.
Yeah.
I sent them to the store for just some seasonings or whatever. I put everything together, and we served 125 kids and teachers. And they were like, who did this? My principal was like, who did this? They was like, Ashia did that. Ashia from New York.
Yeah.
I was like, I told you, I bet my paycheck on my food.
Right.
So I didn't have that difficulty transitioning from the enjoyment of my food, because I just think my food is that good. And plus, I think my personality comes out in my food, like the love comes out in my food, so everyone really enjoys the flavor of my food.
Yeah.
Plus, it's, I'm a mutt. I'm mixed up.
Yeah.
I got West Indian, I have Southern, I have Spanish, You know, so I just mash everything up.
Yeah, that's pretty dope because I like to ask everybody. I'm an artistic person. I just like art in whatever way that it comes. So I like to ask people, as far as your lineage and your bloodline, was there any artistic nature in your bloodline that probably bled down to where you are that led you to culinary arts?
Yeah.
I mean, I have people, musicians in my family, and I guess like I told you earlier, I used to rap, and then when I stopped, that artistic side of me, it took other form. You know, it came in other ways. So you have other.
I like to paint. I love art. I love, excuse me, the violin.
Okay.
You know, so my grandmother, my family's, they sing a lot.
Right.
So my grandmother used to sing with Mahalia Jackson. My mom had a record deal. I don't know what happened to that. But, you know, everybody's a singer. And then my grandfather, he used to play the violin.
Right.
So it's kind of like when I hear the music, it just, I don't know, it does something creatively to me that comes out in the food. Right. You know, my daughter turned, I think she was 3. I made her this cake, you know, and I have my music bumping, and I have Kid and Play playing because that's one of my favorite groups, you know, and I just created a playground with the cake. I made chocolate dirt, I made green grass, you know. It was just creative because I'm listening to the music and everything is flowing inside my brain, and this masterpiece came out. I was like, I did this. Yeah. I was super excited. So, yeah, just, you know, art and the violin and just singing. Yeah.
You just mentioned, boy, this conversation can go on and on because you're just throwing out little nuggets, and I'm gravitating to. Yeah. You just threw out Kid and Play, and I just remember just 2 days ago, I was just telling my brother, like my last memory is something that hip hop means to me is like I can remember everything at any significant time in my life. I remember what song was hottest song going in the country at that time. Yes. That's how I relate my life to what was going on in hip hop. Yeah. I proposed to my wife in the theater watching Above the Rim. So, you know.
Oh my goodness. And how was that?
It worked out.
I love it.
It worked out. Okay. I was just telling Kid and Play, like my last memory of living in New Orleans before I moved to Atlanta was that summer we went to a Kid and Play concert. And I was just telling him how it was Kid and Play, Digital Underground, because Shock G just passed. Kid and Play, Heavy D, and Public Enemy was the headliner. And I was just telling my brother that was the last significant memory of me as a kid before I moved to Atlanta. So I just had to get that in there.
Oh, I mean, how was that concert? I love Kid and Play. Like,
that concert I remember it was probably the best concert I've ever been to.
Really?
Yeah, it was bump. You know, it was, man, we were young. We had a little money at the time, so me and my friends, we was probably 17. Went to the mall, we got fresh, bought clothes and everything. We got the concert picture.
It had to be fresh.
We had, you know, man, oh man. Ooh, I miss them days, boy.
Ooh, I wish I could have. That's one concert that I've never been to, a Kid and Play concert.
Oh, really?
Never.
Oh, boy.
But I mean, I can imagine. In my head, I used to replay their dance moves all the time. So.
They were huge at that time.
Yes.
People forget how huge they were and only had one or two albums.
Yeah.
And did all
that. But that was influential.
Influential, right. I know you mentioned your style. You don't have a particular favorite style of cooking. You like to say you just feed the soul. Yeah. And that's a difference I noticed from female chefs that I've they speak in the same terms of you did, feeding the soul and nourishing the body. But it's like a lot of male chefs, they just, and I guess that's the difference. They put something together and just look at it like, hey, I did that. You know, I did that shit. But the females like to speak of the nourishment and the what do you think the differences in that?
Well, see, I can speak on both because if you ask me to cook something right now, right, I'm not going to cook. I mean, I've always cooked from the soul, but it's like I'm just putting it together because you asked me to right now. Right. And I'm going to admire it. Right. You know, I think women, we're natural, you know, nurturers. Right. So we're born to bread. Right. You know, so the food can become our children and we have to put our heart and soul into the food. Right. It's like, especially if you're cooking for your man, your woman, whatever, you want them to feel good. You want them to enjoy it. Right. So that's how you just deliver your food. You want to please. That's most women are born to please. Yeah. So that's what you do with your food. I like that. Yeah. Do you cook?
I cook. Yeah, not as much as my wife maybe, but yeah, I cook.
So you cook to please or you cook with love? There's a difference.
Wow, it is. I never thought about it. I guess I cook to please because yeah, I guess I cook to please, and I never thought about it because
Okay.
I'm waiting for that first reaction.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I never thought of that.
See?
Oh yeah. Favorite rapper from Brooklyn?
Favorite rapper from Brooklyn. See, I'm not generic, so you know, Biggie's not my favorite rapper from Brooklyn. You know, I would say, and it's crazy. I would. Special Ed makes me move.
Special Ed, okay.
He makes me move.
Yeah.
Like his song, "Come On, Let's Move." I'm gonna turn that song
Yeah.
on, bump it in the car with Robbie. You know, I'm gonna bump it in the kitchen as loud as I can, and we gonna move in that kitchen.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so I like that. And then that's a memory for me of dancing in Brooklyn on the street, block parties. You know, yeah.
And I think you just mentioned the block parties, the similarities, I think, between, we from two different places, but like they call them block parties. In Brooklyn, in New Orleans, they call them the DJ.
The DJ?
They call it the DJ, yeah.
Okay.
Everybody, it's a block party, but
Yeah.
the DJ out there spinning, they call it
Yeah.
the DJ.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so I think the similarities and based, I think that's pretty dope. Regardless of where you're from, you
Yeah.
still live in the same existence. You
Right,
know, and
exactly.
it's around music.
And I didn't even know that New Orleans had block parties. I know it's like have big, you know, parties,
Right.
sections, but I never knew you guys had block parties.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
That's dope. I can imagine that.
Oh, yeah, I could put you on to something. I did a documentary in 2012, 13. I'll put you on to it. It's a lot of explanation, and it's called We Are One Street Music of New Orleans.
Oh,
So it's,
okay.
yeah, I talk about the history of bounce music and all that.
I learned bounce music in 2007.
Oh, really?
That was the first time I ever was introduced to bounce music.
Yeah, it's taken on a different, since post-Katrina, I think it's taken on a different turn in what it's meant.
Yeah.
It's become a lot more sexually suggestive.
Yes.
But prior to that, it was more gangsters and hustlers who
Yeah.
really couldn't rap, but they had something to say.
Yeah.
So they put them on the mic and they just chant, you know, and over breakbeat, over. It's just very, very unique culture.
It is.
Yeah, very
it
unique.
is. It's different.
Yeah. What do you think most people currently, when you cook something, that your most requested dish is now? If you have one.
Right now, it's Cuban lasagna.
Cuban
Like
lasagna.
right now, it's Cuban lasagna.
Oh, let's get into that. How do you make that?
Okay, Cuban lasagna is not the ordinary. It's not noodles. It's plantains.
Okay.
So you have your plantains. I like to use veal. You can use veal, ground beef. Ground beef is just too heavy for me.
Right.
And it's too heavy for a lot of people. It
Yeah.
takes you a long time to digest. But veal, because it's, you know, a baby, the meat is much more tender. So your body can just digest it more. If you want to use chicken or pork, that's on you. You know, I use fire roasted tomatoes, onions, garlic, cheese, and you just layer it.
Okay.
You know, it's not tomato based. It's more a conglomerate of the juices.
Okay.
How they come together. You know, plantain, it excretes like a starch.
Yeah.
So it kind of thickens it up a little bit
Okay.
as well when you put your cheese on it. So it's amazing.
Amazing.
So a lot of
Sounds
people,
good.
I see you salivating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are requesting the Cuban lasagna. So,
Okay.
Yeah. Stuffed plantains. I think because I brought a lot of my Spanish lineage out, more people are starting to be like, oh, so let's go with this. You know, a lot of times when they hear, oh, your grandmother's from Alabama, well, can you make collard greens? Can you do this? And don't get me wrong, my collard greens
Right.
are great, but let's switch it up.
Right.
You know, let's do a stuffed collard green. You know, have you ever had stuffed collard greens? No.
Right.
Okay, well, let's try it. You know, so now that I'm kind of like bringing that part out, introducing people to Cuban food, because a lot of my family is from Cuba,
Okay.
they're liking it.
I think that combination is dope too. But you said people think, you mentioned the Alabama in your lineage and they think you could cook one way, but you can bring all that other
Right.
Yeah,
And my grandfather's from Jamaica, so it's like I like to switch it up. So it's like I can go to Jamaica, then I could take you to Cuba, then I can go to Alabama. Okay, then you want some Midwestern. Okay, how about some Italian? You know, so I go everywhere.
Yeah. And you know, when I was a kid, I like to tell people all the time. When I was a kid, it's pretty common in South Louisiana to walk in somebody's house. When I was a kid, and you see a full-blooded Native American and their grandmother making gumbo in the kitchen. And we seen stuff like that all the time. My great-grandmother was full-blooded, and she smoked a pipe and sat in the rocking chair and did stuff like. And some people say, really? Yeah, that was common for us to see.
Yeah,
that was common for us to see.
We have to swap recipes.
Yeah, most definitely. This is Nathan T. Rito, a.k.a. The Professor. This is Food Dope Podcast, and today I'm sitting with Chef Ashia Hawkins from New York and Atlanta, and from Canvas and Whiskey. You want to get more into Canvas and Whiskey and tell us the scope of everything you got going on with that?
Well, right now we're doing a lot of personal chefing.
Okay.
I say personal chefing because I'm in there, you know, I'm working with some people. But what we do with the personal chef is not the basic thing. Like, here's a menu, pick what you want, and let's go from there. No, what's your blood? What's your blood type? A lot of people don't know their blood type. Right. And a lot of foods don't blend with your blood type. So, you know, Canvas and Whiskey is all about trying to make sure that you understand what you can eat, how it makes you feel. Because sometimes you eat turkey and you feel so sluggish. Turkey is not meant for certain blood types.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of like, you know, we're going in, we're evaluating your health. Let us know what you have going on. Let us know your food goals. If you don't have any food goals and you just want to eat, then I got you all day.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what we do. We do meal preps. We're getting out there. I'm hoping to open a spot in about another year or so. Just doing a lot of catering, a lot of bouncing around. I would like to incorporate, you know, my Instagram where they vote on what they want me to cook. Because, you know, sometimes people, they want to make this, but they're not sure how it's supposed to look. Yeah. They're not sure how it's supposed to smell or taste, or even some people don't feel good in the kitchen. So on Instagram, I want to start doing this thing where you tell me what you want me to make for you. I'll make it. And if it's nasty, that's what we're going to say. This isn't it. Don't try this. You know, so, you know, with Canvas and Whiskey, I'm trying to make it a whole walk of life.
Right. Dope. And how did the name come about?
It's funny because, you know, I wasn't a big drinker, and I'm still not a big drinker. I really only drink when I'm with my husband. Okay. So we had whiskey, and I asked for some strawberries. They put some strawberries in it because he was like, you have something sweet for her? But he had a whiskey, and I was like, but I like this, but it's too strong. So I started liking whiskey with strawberries, with different kind of fruit. And then we did an event because I like to paint, so we did a sip and paint. Okay. And I was like, Canvas and Whiskey is me. Yeah. This is what I do because it embodies everything that I like. Yeah. You know, I like creating. Plus, I like the reaction to see everything on canvas. Yeah. Because when you put your food on a plate, it's canvas, right? Right. That's your canvas. That's right. Canvas and Whiskey.
Dope. Perfect plate in comparison to the perfect hip-hop song, Constructed.
Perfect plate. Perfect.
What elements does your plate have to have?
I'm really big on now. I love collard greens.
Okay.
Right? So it has to have a nice heaping helping of collard greens with a cornmeal dumpling. You ever heard of that?
Cornmeal dumpling? I have not.
Okay, that's a southern thing.
Okay.
Deep, dirty South.
All right.
With probably a stuffed Cornish hen with a balsamic glaze, some brown rice, and some plantains. So that would, to me, would be express yourself. Salt and pepper.
The way that came together was so dope. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you. What about you? Your perfect plate. What's the dopeness that will be on your plate?
Oh, man. You're going to turn around and flip this on me. Whoo. Color. Can't go into detail with what I think the color should be, but I like color. Structure, I like it. Formation of the food, the
plate
color,
presentation.
plate presentation, of course. Fresh ingredients. I love fresh. New flavors. I like when I'm tasting something and like wow me, something like that. I think that would have to be it. Now, when I put that in a song form, people who know me know my favorite song of all time is Nas, The World Is Yours.
Gotcha. Okay.
It just keeps getting better and better with each verse.
Yeah.
It's like you eating something, it's just getting better and better with each bite.
Yeah.
You know.
You're just hearing something.
It has depth to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nostalgia. It breeds nostalgia also. Because that song makes me think back my earlier years, and it got me through a lot.
Gotcha.
Maybe age 21. Got me through a lot. So yeah, that would be mine.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Where'd you get your culinary training?
Oh, my culinary training. Okay, so I did go to New York Restaurant School, and I dropped out.
Dropped out?
Yeah, I left, personal reasons, but my training is homegrown. You know, I contribute and attribute everything to my grandmother. It's like she would go in, okay, so you're not from New York, but have you heard of Bonton chips? That's a staple.
Bonton, B-O-N-T-E-M-P-S?
O-N.
Bonton chips. Bonton, okay.
So, those are in the store. Everybody had them barbecue, salt and vinegar, everything.
Okay.
But I had homemade chips. My grandmother, I could come home from school and I have a bag of salt and vinegar chips, a bag of barbecue chips, a bag of plain with the dipping sauce.
Okay.
So it's like she is the embodiment of cooking. She is that focal point for me when I cook. I'm like, did I get it right?
Yeah.
So that's my training. My grandmother. She's telling me, when you're making a sweet potato pie, everybody makes a sweet potato pie differently.
Right.
You got to own yours. You can look at the recipe, but you got to taste it. You got to figure out if this is what you want people to taste. Do you like it? Nah, then it's not good enough. Keep going. You know, so she is my trainer.
Your trainer, okay. And it served you well to this point.
Yes.
Obviously, yeah.
Yes.
All right. This is Nathan T. Rito, a.k.a. The Professor on Food Dope Podcast, and I'm here with Chef Ashia Hawkins of Canvas and Whiskey. Now, Chef, getting ready to close this out. Is there any, I'm going to let you have the floor. Is there anything you want to address and say anything to our listeners and our viewers?
Just watch out, for Canvas and Whiskey. We're coming. We're going to take, Atlanta, Georgia, by storm. Like, we're just going to flood in. And then just come if you want to learn how to cook, DM me at Canvas and Whiskey. I'm always down to come teach lessons, kids, adults. And, I like to give guys lessons because sometimes they don't really know how to cook and they want to just kind of just please their woman. Yeah,
somebody like me. Yeah. All right. DM, that's Canvas and Whiskey on IG. And you can reach me on IG at TheProfessor73. That's at TheProfessor73 or at Food Dope Podcast. That's Food Dope Podcast. Or you can reach me for any business. You see, I got this table right here. I'm looking for sponsors. I got a nice real estate right here for sponsorships. You can reach me at fooddopeinfo@gmail.com. That's fooddopeinfo@gmail.com. And remember, you already closed this out? Or are you good? You got anything else?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem at all. Anytime you want to come back. And I am honored because I had a whole season 1. You're the first female chef I had on. And also the first, the first person from New York that I had on.
I love it.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn. Brooklyn's the borough. This is Nathan T. Rito of the Food Dope Podcast. You'll never understand the weight this culture carries unless you live the life. And I live the life. Peace. Welcome to another edition of Food Dope Podcast. And today we have a cooking demo by Chef Ashia Hawkins. Chef, what are you going to get into today?
So today we're going to fry up some lobster, some shrimp. We're going to do like a semi-crab boil, but not because some of the stuff is fried. We're going to have some Spanish rice. We got the rock crab right here. I don't know if you can see it right here.
Okay.
The rice is already done. Got the olives in there. We got a lot of spices in there. You smell it?
I can smell it.
See, no more scratch and sniff though.
Yeah. What do we have right here?
Cilantro. So That's a key component when you're cooking with Spanish food, cilantro. It gives
Okay.
it a different flavor. These are different sauces. So, you know, if you want, you could dip your spoon in here. You could taste it if you want. If not, you could wait.
I'll wait till we get the finished product.
Cool. So one is spicy, one is sweet.
Okay.
Yeah. So which one you want to start out with since this is food dope?
It's food dope, and I'm the dope sous chef today. So let's start out with lobster.
Okay, so for me, I just dip my lobster. I just grab the tail, right? I don't know if you want to grab a tail and dip, just in case you want to learn while you're here.
Of course.
Okay, so you just grab it, throw it in there. Don't throw, I say throw, but just dip it in there, let it go gently, because the grease is hot. Don't be scared. So when food is ready, do you know how to tell when like stuff is ready?
Oh, yeah.
In the oil? Okay. So it's about to pop up in a few minutes, so we could just keep going.
Keep
because
going
we
on the
want
next one.
Yep. Just keep it moving, keep it going.
So you're not going to worry about them sticking together in there? Is there anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Feel that luster. You hear that love right there?
I can hear it. I can hear it. It's speaking to me.
That's right.
There we go.
Now your lobster's going to turn orange. It's going to pop up. This one was first because we see it's bright orange right here. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So what I like to do is just let it get nice and crispy because it comes off the shell a lot easier.
Okay.
So we're going to let that cook for a couple of, maybe about a minute or two more. You want your lobster to be succulent, not rubbery. A lot of times, you know, lobster has that rubber band feeling when you cook it too much.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's turn it around. I'll take a look at it. See how you can tell right there? It's separating from the shell.
Right.
I don't know if you guys can see it's separating from the shell a little bit. So, just about done. You can smell it too, right?
Oh, you can smell it most definitely.
Y'all want to smell it?
See, I have a problem with, I guess it would be with lobster too, but I have a problem with cooking shrimp. I always overcook my shrimp.
Really?
Overcook.
Okay, we're going to show you how to do that today so there's no overcooking.
Got you.
You'll never overcook another piece of shrimp. And you just drain it. I cut it in half because I just like to peel it. I hate trying to get, you know, the lobster out of the shell. And you know how you have to like dig.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't even crack it for you.
Right.
So you're like, dang, how am I going to get this out?
Uh-huh.
Put it on a paper towel just to drain it because it's oil. But a good thing is, you know, you can cook your lobster tails. You can split it like this with some kitchen shears and then put it in the air fryer.
Oh, okay. I
You
never
ever
thought
tried
about it. Never tried it. I just got my first air fryer last
Really?
week. Yeah.
Which one did you get?
The caloric with the French doors. Has 8 different functions. The rotisserie, the air fryer, the oven, and all that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a nice. I've used it a couple of times already.
I like that. Yeah, it tastes really good when you air fry it.
Okay.
So.
The first thing I cooked in it, we some turkey wings, and it came out as a success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cajun?
Sorta. I brined it and brined the turkey wings, and I got my own seasoning blend.
Okay.
A little secret about 10 different things I came up with. And it came out real nice though, yeah.
I think every cook, I won't even say chef, every cook should have a secret ingredient.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're good to go. What you think?
Looks good.
Okay, so we're moving on. We could just sit that down.
Okay.
We can move on to the shrimp. I've already put it in the slotted, I call it my little wire spoon. It kind of picks everything up when it's frying and it keeps the grease from dripping. So you can actually pick that up, place it in there. Make sure our grease is still nice and hot.
Just let them all go? Okay.
And then all we do here, when we get ready, we're just going to pick this up, put this back in there, but we're going to pick this up. We're going to let that cook for a second. And then just keep it rolling, just like that.
Gotcha.
After it's done, we're gonna put our sauces and drip it on there how we like. I just like, when I plate food is different. Like plate presentation is a little different. You know, I put it on a plate how I think it should look like art. But when you're at home, you just put it on a plate and you just dig in.
Just go, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's your show. You just put it on the plate and just dig in however you want to do it.
I think we're just gonna go for it.
Go for it, okay.
As long as you had the good intentions.
Trying to get this grease to come on and cook, baby.
Now, what's the difference between the ones that's in there and these?
There's no difference.
No. Oh, okay. It's just
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 seasoning.
extra.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just something I just put in here so when you dumped it, you know, you wouldn't be.
Okay.
Because
Gotcha.
shrimp is a little different. It's like when you put the shrimp in there, for some reason, the plop makes it explode more.
Yeah.
I guess the shell from the lobster kind of shields it. But the shrimp, you know, and it's much more water-based
Right.
than a lobster
Got
shell.
you. Okay.
Yeah. So we just want to check on it. Ooh, look at that color, right? So we're just waiting for it to rise up a little bit. And you never want to cook shrimp more than like 5 to 7 minutes. And I won't even say 7, depending on how hot your grease is.
Okay.
Like if you're cooking it in grease, you want to stick to like maybe 5 or 6 minutes because shrimp is so tender that the grease penetrates it.
Okay.
Pop, it's done. Now if you're steaming it, if you have it on a low steam, you want to go 7 minutes because anything longer than that, it's a little tough.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that's what you were experiencing, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But don't like some people are, I like to undercook.
Don't do that.
No undercook. You want to give it. Now, if you have your grease, like, because our grease, you know, is not as hot as a regular fire would be, if your grease is piping hot, like from a cast iron, you could dip that bad boy in there for like 3-4 minutes, boom, take it out.
Yeah.
It's done. See how it's rising?
Yes, exactly.
So that's what we want. We want that rise. And I like to make sure that it's coming off of the shell. See?
Okay.
Take it out, drain it.
You need paper towels for that.
Either or is fine. We're at home, remember?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That color is awesome.
Yeah, it is. I'm looking for the right song to describe it. What do you think?
The right song.
The right song to describe these shrimp.
That thing.
That thing. The first thing came to my mind is vibrant thing.
Vibrant thing, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm thinking Lauryn Hill. That thing, But vibrant thing, yeah. Okay, so you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could just.
Got you.
So let's kind of take some out so it'll cook faster. Here you go. Now, what do you love about going into the kitchen?
I love it when I have something new that we haven't had before, and I have the recipe, and I'm just keeping it to myself, and I'm just getting started on it, just to discover something new that I haven't done before.
So you want to go in with somebody, or you want to be by yourself?
I prefer to be by myself.
Okay.
Because, I guess where I come from, South Louisiana, it's a thing. You don't like, what is that I heard? 4 hands in the kitchen is too many.
Right.
So I heard stuff like that. It's just too much. I like to be by myself.
Yeah. Definitely when you're in the kitchen by yourself, you can kind of zone out and play with things. Plus, if you mess up, nobody knows. So,
Yeah.
but being in the kitchen by yourself definitely puts you in the zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wear
agree.
ear pods or you have your music blasting?
No, I bump it.
You
I
bumping?
have a speaker
Yeah.
sitting right here. The speaker's about this high.
Okay.
And it just blares through the entire house.
Got
It's
you.
like everybody knows, like, okay, she's downstairs in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like today is I'm in my head with my music, you know,
Yeah.
but my zone is like I said, when that music is on, you're feeling everything going. You got those juices flowing.
Yeah.
I'm dancing. I'm getting my spices.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Just going with the flow of everything, and
Right.
it's like rhythmic.
It is.
Yeah.
Just like you say, you getting ready to cook. When I'm getting ready for an interview, I spent all last night getting ready.
Yeah.
Music. I'm going back
Exactly.
I listened to Run DMC last night.
Oh, which one?
Off the King of Rock album, I think my favorite rap song of all time, Daryl and Joe.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, why?
It's hard as hell to
Okay.
begin with. And because one of my favorite producers, Larry Smith, who produced that, I pay attention to music, so I like to say that song, along with 5 Minutes of Funk, is probably the most perfectly produced hip-hop song of all time because it's entertaining from start to finish.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to turn it off when I'm listening to it. Everything about, from the lyrics, the beat, Jam Master Jay scratching at the end, from first millisecond of the song to the end is just entertaining.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know what I was listening to when I was coming here?
What's that?
Rappers Delight KRS One, right? And I was just like, this morning when I was cooking, it was just kind of like the melody of it.
Step
like,
into a world. Yeah.
And I was just like, okay. And as my rice was cooking,
Yeah.
I don't know why I felt like the music was talking to the rice.
Yeah. But when the beat drop, you can't concentrate on the
Right,
cooking.
'cause you're like-
You moving.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
So that's how I feel. Like when you're in the kitchen, step into my world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. And we have this last little bit, and we're done. We can grub down. Just
right.
get it pushing. Fix your plate and enjoy.
All right.
But do you smell everything? Like,
Oh,
do
most
you
definitely.
smell like the different flavors? And,
Right.
But is it something new?
It is something new, and I can tell you what, I've always had, I think my favorite type of crab is, because what I'm used to is blue crab. I've never had rock crab.
Rock crab?
Yeah.
Blue crab is definitely, you know, in Brooklyn, we used to go to Pickens Avenue. And you go down there and you get your blue crab, and you can kind of pick out which ones you want. They're all trying to get out the barrel,
yeah.
you know, and you picking, but you standing back because you don't want them
Yeah.
to come. I know at least that was me. But you would see all the kids looking, and you just picking the one you want. And they used to have like some really, really big ones, you know, the female crabs. And you're like, oh, I want that one. And then the guy used to shake them at all the kids, and we would just run out. But you want the crabs.
Yeah.
I used to have Robbie like dump them in a pot for me.
Really?
Because they put them in a paper bag.
Right.
So you got to be careful when you put them in a pot because they all come out.
Yeah.
One time, one hit the floor, took off with it. I'm like, Robbie. He's like, what? I was like, a crab. He was like, really?
And we grew up catching crabs, so we used to go to the Gulf of Mexico. My hometown is only maybe 30 miles from the Gulf of Mexico. So from a time like that, we going to the Gulf with my uncles and everybody.
You weren't scared of the claws?
Oh no, we tying out our own lines.
Oh, wow.
Turkey necks. Put turkey necks on twine, setting out the twine in the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, we did stuff like that.
So the turkey necks attracted the crab? Oh, wow.
So they say so. Yeah.
Oh, wow. See, we learning from each other
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
I might want to try that one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to try it, but I'm still scared. These are just about done. The color's coming. It's starting to separate. We're going to leave it in there for a few more seconds. And you can actually start fixing your plate.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Okay.
This food is dope.
All right. It's a go.
It's a go.
Thank you for allowing me to cook.
And thank you. This is Nathan T. Rito, the professor on Food Dope with Chef Ashia.
Canvas and whiskey, y'all.
Canvas and whiskey. Peace. International Food Dope, brought to you by Urban Science Media, hosted by Nathan T. Rito, aka The Professor. Find us on all major podcast platforms. Follow us on IG at Food Dope Podcast and at The Professor 73. You'll never underestimate the weight this culture carries unless you live the life. And I live the life. We got history.